This is from the U.S. Secret Service. This is a post they did 2 weeks ago where they had a Pride Month special with those in the force. And you can watch this and listen to them opine about how hard it is to be in the Secret Service and paid what they are and be a part of the LGBTQ community. Guys, this is what your focus is. You know there's something wrong, and no one wants this. No one. This is look 1,300 views on their particular video. No one actually wants this. They just want you to do your job, do your competent job, and defend the president. And they almost got the president killed, in my opinion. I mean, the rank. If you listen to some of the analysis from Dan Bongino and also some private military contractors that Patrick Bet-David interviewed, you can hear them poke the holes in exactly what was done versus how it was used to be done by the Secret Service under the Reagan years. It's disgusting. They can't holster their weapon. They're not getting the president off stage. Who cares if he wants to fist pump? Do your job. Get him off there. Get him out. And you got to protect him. But they kept him on the target.
And one of them was even ducking for cover behind the president.
Shocking. You couldn't make this stuff up. It makes me disgusted.
And the average American isn't into this sort of thing. I mean, the average Australian isn't into this thing. These DEI is pushed by a minority of very vocal and well-placed, powerful people, and it's allowed by cowards. So it's pushed by true believers and cynics. It's allowed by cowards who know that the whole thing is a lot of rubbish, but don't have the courage to just say, excuse me, this is not going to lead to our organisation, whether it's a military, a police force, a secret service, a corp, being more effective. It's going to lead to it being less effective.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, just a slight pivot. Do you want to finish your
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, again, it just leads back to language. The reason people don't want to stand up is you'll be called a bigot. And you don't want to be a bigot. You don't want to be, transphobic or anything like that. So they use that language to make people afraid, and then they use that language to affect your income, your family, your businesses. And so less and less people want to stand up and speak against it, even though they don't agree. Because I speak to a lot of people daily through my business, and they feel that way, but they don't want to speak about it because, as we've seen numerous times, you say something on social media and your employer sees it and they don't agree. Now you're in trouble. Or even if they agree, but they can't support it publicly, well, they're going to have to reprimand you and do something about it. Apologies, Joel.
No, that's right. I was just going to say, look, Melania Trump has just walked in. I won't. I think there might be another speech not for. Maybe she is walking for Trump. I don't know, but I'm happy to fill a little bit more until Trump comes on. That's Vance. We are going to still talk about Vance. We haven't even had a chance to. People are wondering who the hell is this guy.
That's Melania.
Yeah, that's Melania. So she literally just walked in, guys, and obviously the media do what they usually do and be like, "Oh, where's Trump? Where's this and that? His wife's abandoned him," and bastards. Anyway, I'm going to mute this now because I don't know what music they're going to play.
Joel, I'd like to say something.
Please.
Which is. There is a lot of confidence in the Republican Party and Trump supporters all around the world right now. The betting markets are saying he's the odds-on favourite to win. That's the biggest threat we've got over confidence, putting down our guard. We've got to pretend we're behind at all times. Now, the Democrat, and I'll tell you what worries me. We've all known Biden's a mess, for 3 years, okay? But even before the debate was this time 3 weeks ago. Now, even before the debate, the polling, on average, had Trump ahead by 1 or 2 points, despite Joe Biden being the complete physical and mental mess he is and policy mess. But why wasn't he ahead by 25 points? Okay. And now, in the post debate and now the post-attempted assassination environment, the polling is still quite tight. Now, it's moved up about 2 or 3 points since the attempted assassination. You've still got about 43% of Americans, if they get a phone call tonight, just in spite of everything, they'll say, who will you vote for, Mr. and Mrs. Smith out there in Kansas? And 43% of them saying, Joe Biden, Joe Biden. Now, that tells me that's their base. They've got for the worst candidate in the history of politics, you've still got a big chunk saying they're going to vote for him. So now what happens then if you have a half-decent candidate? Well, it means we've got an extremely polarised America. When Ronald Reagan was shot, quite similar to this, in early 1981, his polls overnight went up 20 points. Okay, now we're seeing a very similar situation, but we're only seeing a very small increase in his support. So this election is not over, and sometimes when things look really good in politics, that's just before they start looking bad. Okay, so it's like John Howard won this big victory in 2004. He's fourth on the trot. Everyone thought he can't be stopped. Well, then he went and got his ass kicked 3 years later. This can often happen.
Can I just say, I do think that what's undeniable is whether this shooting was intentional or not, or was a deep state thing or not, which I don't think the jury's in. I think the jury's still out. I do think that the Democrats have 100% gone into a different gear now. And they're like, okay, we're not effing around. We have to get Biden to step down. So he obviously last week, he had Clooney, who was his chief funder, stop backing him. Obama's becoming more and more vocal, whereas previously he said we need unity. And all the leadership are against him. So they've